Welcome back, YouTube, to part two of the NFL football season preview. So we're going to move on in the AFC East down to the third place team from a year ago, and that'll be the New York Jets. Now, New York Jets, oh boy, actually, really, it was both New York teams. They have had just abysmal past histories with these franchises. Of course, the Jets have their one Super Bowl win back in 1969 with Joe Namath, but ever since then, they have been irrelevant. They have not made the playoffs since 2010, which is going on his 15th anniversary now, which is really not good. But there is, at least with the Jets, there is a lot of optimism surrounding this organization. And I don't know if it's for good reason, but there is some optimism brewing in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So let's go ahead and move on to talk about this team. So we know the saga from last year. It was the Aaron Rodgers. After really the last 2 years with the Jets, it's been the Aaron Rodgers crapshoot. What it's been. It was the first year he was there. He played a grand total of 4 snaps after tearing the Achilles, and then last year it was just up and down, not good, not high quality football whatsoever. And they finished, 5-12. It was just god awful. So then they fired their previous head coach, and they brought in Aaron Glenn, the former defensive coordinator in Detroit. The Jets have recently, they did have Robert Saleh there, a former defensive coordinator when he was with the San Francisco 49ers. That didn't pan out, obviously. So they're hoping this might boost them up a little bit, especially with the way Detroit's defense looked a year ago with Brian Branch and all those key features that we will discuss later on. I think he could resurrect that defense to be almost on a similar note with the parts and pieces that they have down there with the Jets. Now, the major offseason news with the Jets is that they got rid of Aaron Rodgers. They said goodbye to him, and again, we're still hearing rumors that he might go to Pittsburgh and stuff like that. But Aaron Rodgers out of the building. They did call Pittsburgh and they did get Justin Fields. He is going to be their projected day one starter. They also got Tyrod Taylor in there to be the backup because he's just an all reliable veteran. Breece Hall is going to be the feature running back there. They've got Garrett Wilson, they got Allen Lazard, they've got Mason Taylor there, and they do have Elijah Vera Tucker there on the offensive line, which will be a nice way to hopefully bring back like a little run game into with the Jets and stuff like that. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, they got Quinnen Williams, they got, of course, Sauce Gardner, and they also have Andre Cisco. And then they could throw in Tony Adams there at the strong safety position, but Sauce Gardner is by far the focal point of that defensive unit, and I think Aaron Glenn is going to be relying on him a lot to pretty much implement the plan that he wants to put forth to bring this Jets franchise back to at least more respectable prominence. Not like we want them to be the best they never, like America's team, but we need them to have a little more respect than what they've received in the past 15 years. Overall, they are a losing team, 433, 559, and 8. That's a 43.7% win percentage, and they have a losing record against every team in the division, and they do have one tie against both Miami and the New England Patriots. All right, so if we look at the schedule, I personally think this schedule sets up really, really nicely for them. I think we already know that their week one game against Pittsburgh, that will be the featured 1 o'clock game that most country will see on CBS. That's going to be, they're assuming that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Pittsburgh. That's what they're all assuming. But we're looking at Pittsburgh. I haven't gained that win there. Then I haven't gone a little of a rough stretch because they got to play Buffalo, which is going to be a tall task for them. They're going to play Tampa Bay at their place, which would be a tall task, and I haven't losing at Miami on Monday night. Then after that, I think they're going to start hitting their stride a little bit. They'll go 2-2 in weeks 5 through 8 with wins against the Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys, both in New York, quote unquote New York. They'll have their bye week in week 9, and then I really see them going on a tear. I think they're going to have a strong finish to the end of the season. I haven't had having a winning record for the first time in God knows how long. I have them going 9-8. They'll be second place in the AFC East this year, and I just think this year is going to be like the precursor year that we saw in Detroit when they had like that really low point in their franchise. Then they went 9-8, and then they went 12-5 the year after, and then the year after they went to the NFC title game. So I think this is going to be like a similar narrative for them. Ironically, with Aaron Glenn, who was part of the resurrection there in Detroit, but I have them finishing 9-8, winning 5 of their last 6 games. with 3 of them being in the division. But I just think this is going to be a much better year for the Jets. I mean, going to be way over that 5.5 over under win total for them. But I think this year it's going to be a kind of a surprise for us. Again, it's going to start off real slow. There'll be only be what 3-5 before the week 9 bye week, but I do see them coming back strong in week 10 and almost I wouldn't say going on cruise control, but I see them being a formidable force in the AFC at least at the tail end of the schedule. Alright, so this has been my video all about the New York Jets. We are going to wrap up the AFC East by talking about the last place team from a year ago, the New England Patriots, in the next video. But until then, this is your man Dylan signing off about the New York Jets. I will see you guys in the next video.